What is going on? Welcome to the Second of Strength podcast, wherever you are. I hope you're doing well. If you're listening to this on the day it releases, then it's the day after New Year's. I hope if you celebrate Christmas, I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I think everyone celebrates New Year's or, does that. So happy New Year's. Today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about, not really about goal setting. I think there's other podcasts that are going to cover that. There's other places that you listen to that. I think everyone really knows how to set goals. I'm not really going to go into that. So if you're listening to this on January 2nd, just know that you can listen to this anytime. It's supposed to help you at any time. Because we're not really going to talk about goals. We're not going to talk about, routines or those small little things. We're not going to talk about vision boards, and all those things are great. And if you do all those things, I love it. If you set New Year's resolutions, I love it. I think that there's, or New Year's words, sometimes they do like words of the year or something like that. I think a couple years ago, my word for the year was blinders. Like I wanted to have, blinders on and not look at, comparison and other things that were going on. One of the themes in my life recently is all good things. Like whatever good or whatever bad happens to me on any given day, I just look at it as, hey, all good things. It's all going to work out in the end. And everything, whether it's a learning opportunity or a growth opportunity, it's all going to help in the long run. So, but that's not what we're going to talk about today, because I don't think any of that matters if we don't do what I'm going to talk about today. Because there's truly only, in my eyes, there's truly only one goal that matters. And so, and if you're in your car, don't do this, or, maybe text it to yourself, or pause this, or do a voice to text, or write it in your notes. You can, if you have a piece of paper, you can write this down. But because I think the first piece of this, and really any goals or whatever, but I think you need to write it down to make it real. But I want you to write this down on a piece of paper. I want you to write, I promise to keep the commitments that I make to myself. I promise to make the commitments that I make to myself, or I promise to keep the commitments that I make to myself. Because if we don't do that, and if we don't take that first step and make that the most important piece of our lives, then all those vision boards, all those goals, all those, new routines, all those New Year's resolutions, all of that simply doesn't matter. You have to promise to keep the commitments to you that you make to yourself. So write that down. If you want to make that a daily reminder on your phone, go to your reminders and set it as a daily reminder that you promise to keep the commitments that you make to yourself. Because from that, every other goal is a stepping point after that, right? You have to start there so that you can move forward. And I think too many of us, we set these goals, we set these dreams, we set these, New Year's resolutions, but we forget why we're doing it. And it's because we make a commitment to ourselves. We are the person that matters. We are the person we're doing this for ourselves. And too often we break those commitments, right? Everybody's done that we've broken commitments to ourselves all the time. And I think what we have to do is we have to recognize that we are important enough to keep those commitments. And I think part of that comes with a simple mindset shift. The goal isn't to lose weight. That's not the goal. The goal is to keep a commitment to ourselves that we promise we're going to work out every single day. The goal isn't to grow our business. If you have a business, or you're an entrepreneur, or a momtrepreneur, or whatever they call it, the goal isn't to grow your business. The goal is to show up daily. That's your commitment. The commitment to yourself is to show up every single day. The goal isn't to be happy. We all want to be happy. We all want to have joy. We all want these things. Like, that is super important, but that's not the goal. The goal is to do the things every day that bring you joy, or walk away from the things that are holding you back. That's the commitment you make to yourself. You make a commitment that you're not going to be in those relationships anymore that are holding you back, or hurting your heart, or making you feel less than. That is the commitment that you're making to yourself. Not that you want to be happy. Of course, that is a derivative, or that is a result of it, right? Of course, losing weight is a result of showing up every day. But the commitment that you're making to yourself is that you are going to show up every single day and go work out. And the commitment part of that is, look, there's going to be times where it is easier to not do it. It is easier to not show up. It is easier to step back into your comfort zone instead of moving forward. And we've all been there. And I've talked about it in the TED Talk. I talk about it other times, but at the end of the day, we retreat. We are creatures of habit. We are creatures of survival. We retreat back into comfort, back into safety, because that is where we are not vulnerable. We are not vulnerable if we don't step out there, right? But we have to move beyond that step and move beyond that thought process into the commitment of every day. And we have to promise that we are not going to break that commitment that we make to ourselves. That is what is most important, because everything else stems from that. There's a book I'm reading right now, Daniel Kahneman, who it's called Thinking Fast and Slow, and he describes it as, in your brain you have two systems. He calls it System 1 and System 2, I think, for simplicity. But there's two systems. The System 1 is automatic. It's just things that you just do naturally. And System 2 is intentional, is what I would call it. It's intentional. And your auto brain is going to default back into comfort and safety if that's what you know, or if that's where you've been. And sometimes comfort and safety is where we break promises to ourselves. On the other side of that, we have to be very intentional. We have to use our intentional brain to find our 1 second of strength to fight for what matters most. Fight for the person that you want to be. And that doesn't happen by slipping back into comfort, by going back on our commitments. That happens by moving forward and deciding that you want to be a different person. And the person you want to be has to keep the commitments that you're making to yourself, because there's no other way to get there and be that person. So you have to promise to do that. And here's what happens. I think sometimes we slip back into comfort. That's one of our big challenges. We slip back into the person that we used to be, that we don't want to be them anymore. That's one of our challenges. But another challenge is that we don't think we are worthy of the person we want to become. And I got to tell you that there is so many lies in that statement. You are worthy of becoming the person that you can become, no matter who you were before. You are worthy of stepping into your potential, no matter the baggage, the weight, the hardships, the trials that you are trying to overcome. You are worthy of the future version of you, and the future version of you that keeps commitments to yourself. So please don't tell yourself, or don't think to yourself, that you aren't worthy or you are not worth it, because that's wrong. It is just wrong. You are worth it, and you are worthy of it. And there's 3 reasons really why we need to keep these commitments to ourselves. The first is you want to become a person who keeps those commitments. That is who you want to become. And everyone wants that, because I think we've all been in that place where we kind of don't keep a commitment to ourselves. Whether, think about last year's resolutions, or you think about, that you wanted to lose weight, or that you wanted to work out every day. And then by, the third week of January, we're not doing it anymore, right? Like, we always use default to kind of like work out, because it's a very simple, goal that we can all equate to, right? We've all done it before. We've all failed at it before, right? But at the end of the day, that's not who we want to be, right? We have to keep the commitments to ourselves, because that is the person we want to become. The second reason is because you are the person that you get to be with all the time. All the time. There's no one else in this world who is with you 100% of the time. Not your friends, not your family, not your kids, not your parents. Nobody is with you all the time, just you. And I think it's really important that we surround ourselves all the time with people who we love and who love us. And that includes you. You need to surround yourself, because you're with yourself, with someone who you love. And you do that by doing the things that keeping those commitments that you're making to yourself, and somebody who loves you back. I think one really critical thing, and the third piece of this, is you have to stop putting yourself last in line for your love. Are you doing that right now? Are you putting yourself last in line for your love? I can't think of a world where we should do that. We have to love ourselves, and too often we don't. We don't, because for whatever reason, I don't know why. I can't for the life of me understand why we do this to ourselves, why we beat ourselves up, why we put ourselves in a position of negativity, why we talk down to ourselves. And I'm not immune to this. Like I do it as well, right? Like we all default to this place of negative love and negative self-talk to ourselves. And because, I don't know, maybe it is because we're with ourselves. And so we're also the ones who know our failures. We're also the ones who know when we've broken a commitment to ourselves. We are the ones who recognize all of our defaults or all of our faults as well as all of our strengths. But for some reason, we dwell on those faults. We dwell on those places of negativity, and we don't give ourselves credit enough for all of the good things in our lives and all the positive things that we do and all the positive things that we are. So please stop putting yourself last in line for your love. Stop putting yourself last in line for your love, because you deserve that side of yourself. You deserve to be with yourself because you love yourself, and you are worth that love. And so as you step into 2024 or whatever time frame you are listening to this podcast episode, I hope that you recognize that the most important goal you can possibly set for yourself is to keep the commitments, promise to keep the commitments that you make with yourself. And it's not about a goal or an outcome. It's about showing up every day in a way that you deserve to show up for yourself. Show up for yourself in a way that is going to help you be better every single day. And look, we can't be 100% all the time, right? Showing up looks different every single day. Sometimes showing up at a 40% of our capacity or our capability is 100%. It's 100% that day, but show up for yourself that day. Make a commitment that you are not going to break the commitments that you make with yourself, because you are worth that. You are worth that much love to yourself. So wherever you are, I hope this helps. Do me a quick favor, share this, take 1 second and share this with someone else. Take another second, talk about seconds of strength. Take another second and go to wherever you listen to this podcast and leave it a quick rating and review. It helps this message get out to more people. But wherever you are, I'm rooting for you. I believe in you. I love you. I know that you are worth the future you. And I hope you believe that you are worth that future you. So wherever you're at, I'll leave you the way I always do. Go find your 1 second of strength and be happy.